I had the opportunity to talk to Mayor Bill Samaras the other day on City Life show, I believe it was last week. The Low Sun reported that the cost itself is going to be $2.6 million. And I asked him, I said, is this $2.6 million going to be the additional cost to the it's going to cause additional cost to the city itself? He said no, that $2.6 million is going to be part of the budget that has been allocated already for that has been allocated and budgeted in that proposed high school renovation in downtown itself. Now, the more the report which is going to come out here, that is not looks like to be the case. First and foremost, the I guess the school board itself that is in charge for the state of Massachusetts will not be able to cover the cost of relocation for the doctor's office on Arcan Road, and that is going to be, if it is only $2.6 million for an eminent domain, that's going to how much it's going to cost. That's fine. I'm sure the school board is going to pay for it. However, for the relocation cost, for the purchasing a new building, for anything that has been at an additional $9 to $10 million more, it's going to come out from the people's taxpayers' money out of pocket here for the taxpayer for the city of Lowell itself. That is insane. I wanted to know where they're going to get this money, and even more, how are we going to cover the cost if the school board is not going to cover this? And we have on the line here Adam. Hi, Adam.
Good evening, Cam. First time caller. I listened to Ryan's show as well. It's my first time caller. I'm a little bit skeptical the overall cost as well. Is this $11 million include the $146 million?
No, this is probably going to be a separate one.
The separate one.
Because remember the MBS, I guess for the Massachusetts School Board, or I forgot what the exact acronym on it. I'm sure they agreed to pay for the eminent domain itself, meaning this is how much it costs the city itself just to get the doctor's office, but it's never going to be include how much it's going to cost them to move and in order to get a new building for them. And Council Rita Mercier have suggested that we may need to be able to go ahead and take a look at the Hamilton Canal District in order to go ahead and get that in that replacement. That alone, the Hamilton Canal District is not even ready to have any businesses to move in. There's a lot of renovation going on. There's a lot of road constructions going on, and it does not look like it's going to be any sooner. At least going to be a year, and that alone itself is probably, like what Ryan said earlier, is probably going to cost the city itself 11 to 12 millions, and out of that 11 to 12 million, $2.6 million is going to be paid by the Massachusetts School Board, but the remaining cost is going to come out from the taxpayers that's living in the city of Lowell.
So my question to the city council, how much will it cost us as taxpayers per year, increase cost for this high school project?
Considering you mean considering including some?
Yes.
Some other costs,
including the $136 million plus the $11 million. How much will our escrow cost? Increase.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Have anybody come up with a number yet?
I'm sure there's
800.
I'm sure they're probably going to give a conservative estimate of how much it's going to cost us. Is that it's going to be costing that, including it's going to be $340 million has been originally proposed for that? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I don't have the answer to that.
Yes, I believe that is the serious question that we should raise and attend the meeting with the city council meeting on the Tuesday or so. And
right.
Also this Hamilton Canal parking garage. That's also our taxpayer as well, correct?
I believe so. Yes, I don't
So,
I don't remember
yeah.
any private company have come right out and said they're building their garage in order to supplement the people who's going to come to the court and pay for it. I have not heard
Yes.
about that one yet.
Yes. So please, Cam, can you advocate for our audience? Estimate how much will it cost? Will it cost the overall cost of the project?
I can almost guarantee you with the project that the government ever managed of my entire career that I know, or my entire life that I've been living in the United States, I have never heard that the government ever have a project that come at a cost. Yet, I know that there could be one or two exceptions somewhere, but I have yet to have read about it or anywhere at all.
Okay.
So definitely, you remember the
Yes,
big dig that happened in the state of Massachusetts a while back? It's supposed to be what, $10 million? I mean, $10 billion with a B. And at the end of the project, how much did that cost the state itself? About over $50 billion for that?
Yes, the overrun cost average 2.5% of the total cost.
Right.
That's by standard. I am not sure. I believe that we should have local meetings, not always at the senior center. Let's have our city councilors meet our community again to finalize the cost. We want to know how much it's going to cost us. Are we allowed? I mean, are we able to afford the ongoing project? How thin are we going to be able to stretch here? That's my concern.
Well, I don't think it's just your concern, Jeff. I believe for the folks who really looking for the dollar and the pennies, that they have already paid their shares everywhere else or to the social service that's being provided in the city itself. Any additional $20 or $50 a month, it is going to be cutting into the cost of them. I mean, this is part of the reason why you already have the rising cost of the housing itself. You're talking about a 2-bedroom, 1,400 square foot home that costs the city, in the city of Lowell, probably costs about anywhere between $220,000 to $250,000 already, and that is just a mortgage itself. It's not going to go into any escrow, PMI, or any other taxation that has been added on top of it. And on top of it, now we have to go and pay for this. How transparent is the city? Is the city council has been for the to the city itself? Well, they have been. I guess to their interpretation, they have always been very transparent in regarding to the costs and all of that. But if you ever look at the proposal for the high school here from downtown, to the average folk, it may look, you may be able to looking like you're walking through a whole bunch of maze. My question is, either the city managers, the city council members, or any of that, have they ever come out with the simplicity of breaking down to say, this is the original proposal, and this is how much it's going to cost us? It just simplify it so that the average Joe can be able to take a look at it as an executive summary and like said, oh, okay, I see how much this is going to cost me and where it's going to cost, what else is going to be on top of it, and there's going to be costs coming out of their pocket. The other one that they need to put it out there is how much is the doctor's office is going to cost us. Like we agree. Last week, the Lowell Sun reported that it's going to cost us $2.6 million. And I asked the mayor and said, Mr. Mayor, where is this money coming from? He specifically stated that it's going to come out from the budget that has been proposed. And now that we know, according to the doctor's office lawyer, at least what Ryan Johnston reported earlier, it's going to cost anywhere between $11 to $12 million by the time it is finished moving and relocating, find a building that is going to be part of, in order to be compliant with the medical requirements, from the HIPAA requirements, from the disability acts and so forth. It's going to require a bigger space in order for them to accommodate patients, because they are no longer been grandfathered in once they are moved into a new building. Mm-hmm. So
I don't understand, or I don't believe that it's going to move forward. I mean, I honestly do believe that the community are not well aware of the cost here, and how can we break it down into a smaller group so that all of us thoroughly understand the estimated cost plus 2% of overrun. How can we propose that? How can we share to our community here? How
Well,
can we do it?
I think the only way is that for me to be able to go ahead and obtain a copy of that proposal itself and go ahead and break down those number by the number and how much it's going to cost to build the entire high school and who is going to be in charge of it. It's all going to be depend on the project manager itself, how he or she is going to break that down without the overhead of overrunning the cost of building a high school. The answer to that, the only thing is, like I said, I can be...
If people have questions, who should they contact?
I do encourage them to go ahead and contact the city council. Any member, any one of the city members of the council member, they can be able to go ahead and reach out, either Vesna Nguyen, Mayor Bill Samaras, or at least it could be you can be able to go ahead and contact directly to the city manager's office to see if you can be able to get a copy of that proposal and you can be able to go ahead and take a look at it. So that's the only thing that I could be able to encourage. We have elected 9 members of the city council. They can be able to give you a better answer than what I can be able to look at it right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you invite the mayor or the vice mayor to come to your show next time?
I definitely would love to have any of the council member to come to the show in order to go ahead and help answer some of the questions that we may have. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, since this show here is happening on Tuesday between 5:30 to 6:30 right now, that is normally conflicting with the scheduled meeting that they have. And so once the season is over, once the the low baseball spinner season is done, this show is going to be moving into a 6 o'clock hour. And that, since the city council meeting is it starts at 6:30, I'm sure they may have an executive meeting prior to that, so it's going to be very difficult for them to come on on the show unless I need to find a way to be able to go ahead and pre-record it and broadcast some of the answers, the entirety of the answer of the individual council member. If need be, the mayor can be able to answer that question for you.
Yes, yeah, I think that is a good idea. Just record it and rebroadcast. I think that's a very good idea. Don't have to be live.
Mm-hmm.
But this message has to be transmitted to the residents, because right now they're living in the dark. I don't believe that most of them believe that we will move forward and agree with our city council without knowing the budget that we are responsible for. I think you're doing a good job. My first time call, but I will have a call most of my friends to encourage them to get involved and figure out our benchmarks so that we can continue to live here in Lowell. Because I don't think most of us are able to afford it anymore. If it's $1,000 increase in our escrow account, our property tax, I don't think we can live here anymore.
Right.
To be honest with you, I don't think we can.
Yeah,
and this is a very, very serious issue, and decisions that is made behind closed doors. We all know this, and we're not fools anymore.
Right.
So they better get their act straight before before someone say something unpleasant to our city. And so I still believe that there's room to work together. I do agree that the vote decided for downtown. I respect that, but
Right.
the budget, I would like to have the city council be more transparent with us.
To their credit, Adam, I believe they have been transparent with us with so many meetings have been held in the chamber itself. I think the only thing that we can do right now is to be able to go ahead and encourage the citizen for the city itself, the residents of Lowell, to be able to come out and participate in this process by listening and come out and watch. Either on, they don't have to come to the chamber in order to listen to the debate. They can be able to watch it from home. I believe LTC or Low Telecommunication itself have broadcast that live, and so that all of us can be able to watch it and follow and see what's going on.
Yes, I noticed that I am not always at home.
Right.
I don't have the time to watch LTC, but my phone is always on.
Right.
If they're able to live it on social media like Facebook, I am greatly appreciated.
Well, I had some conversation with the director and some other folks, a program manager at LTC. We have been exploring that options. I know that I have always looking for ways in some other manner to be able to go ahead and see if we can be able to simultaneously broadcast it via Facebook or YouTube or any other social medias out there, the platform that we have, which is normally free. They can be able to do that. It's just a matter of time for me to be able to go ahead and explore in terms of how we can be able to incorporate either YouTube or Facebook or some other form of some other platform that be able to incorporate into the server itself, where it can be I guess for what's the word I'm looking for here, and so that it can be simultaneously broadcast through all of that. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity to make, but I think because due to some of the staffing, due to some of the time that Wendy and the rest of those folk have not had the opportunity. I know they're working, but unfortunately it's not at the pace that we love to see it. But I'm sure it will become some time. So I will be. Okay. I know that I have been working with them and find a manner in order to get that done.
Okay. Yes, as long as we see some improvement in communication, that's all that we are asking for. You're doing a good job. Again, I have to go. I'm at my house now. Well, okay. Good luck, and please continue do what you do. We definitely need someone to stand up and spread out the news information from our city hall into the residents, specifically impacting our livelihood. And good job, Cam. Thanks for picking up the phone.
Okay. Alrighty. Thanks, Adam. Thanks for the call. We have a few minutes left before we go on top of the hour, and I just want to remind you the view of the show here for the Kamara K show does not necessarily reflect the view of the station itself. If you want to join us, call us into the radio show here. I'm live between 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. On a weekly basis on a Tuesday evening here. The phone number here is 978-454-4980. Again, 978-454-4. I'm telling you, Cindy, 4980. I got that one correct, right? So again, 978-454-4980. Do I have a couple more time, or do you want to go to on the break on the hour? 5 minutes. Okay, already. Thank you. Well, recently, I'm going to go more into the second hour show here, what we're looking at here. Recently, the Lowell Sun himself, the editorial page, have written an article that to me it seemed a little bit impugning in my reputation and to others, which I'm not too fond of. I don't mind that the Lowell Sun is being very critical of me and what I do, but once they start impugning and pulling somebody else and some other fine individuals who have volunteered their time in order to serve the community, impugning their reputation, I believe it's beyond comprehension to me. This is what the Lowell Sun on this past Sunday have stated, that that I have been very that I have routinely hammered away at Radhi Mom on my local cable TV show, which is aired in the Khmer language. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to respond to the Lowell Sun itself. How does the Lowell Sun know what I was talking about if I was speaking in Khmer? That's number one. Number two, how does the Lowell Sun know that I have a TV show on LTC, which I don't even host one? I help broadcast. I volunteer my time to be a broadcast engineer, and none of that were in their report. Number three, once I appear on all those shows, I have normally speaking in the Khmer language. How in the world do they know what I was talking about? Number three, ever since that I am on those television shows, I have not once been very critical of Radhi Mom. The only time that I am being critical of Radhi Mom, by the way, for those who don't know who Radhi Mom is, he is currently the state representative for the 18th district here in the city of Lowell, Massachusetts. Yeah, and so that's what I wanted to know. The only thing, as I was saying, the only thing that I'm being very critical of the state representative, of course, Radhi Mom, is always been on my social media outlet, my social media page, that I have been very critical of him, how he would not, first and foremost, truly represent the people in that district itself. He has avoided people's phone call. He does not return people's phone call. If he does, it takes him at least a week to a month. By the time he returned those phone call, the first thing he said, "Hey, how are ya? This is Radhi Mom. I'm returning your phone call. I just want to let you know I was so busy. You know, keep in mind that I'm a state representative, not just a district of the 18th district itself that I am representing. I am representing 6.6 million people here in the state of Massachusetts. But tell you what, that 6.6 million people in the state of Massachusetts did not elect you to become a state representative. That 6.6 million people, and out of that, about 20% of those have been registered to vote, or 40% of those registered to vote, voted for the governor of state of Massachusetts. The governor himself that is currently running the state of Massachusetts. You, my dear sir, as a state representative, do not represent 6.6 million people in the state of Massachusetts. You represent that 20,000 people in the 18th district, which is consistent of the Highland and the Acre itself. So stop imbalancing your credential in regarding to what you can do. Because of that white lie itself, the 18th district itself have suffered tremendously. Having said that, we are going to go on a break. Thank you, Cindy.
980 WCAP, Lowell, Haverhill, Lawrence, Methuen, Nashua, and Salem, New Hampshire, serving the Merrimack Valley.
Arrow Container Services for all your open-top roll-off needs in the Merrimack Valley and southern New Hampshire. Call 877-32-ARROW for prompt, professional, reliable service. 10 to 40 cubic yard containers to handle debris from house cleanouts, yard work, roofing, and general construction. No delivery fees or hidden costs. Arrow will size your job and give free quotes to homeowners and contractors alike. Call 877-32-ARROW or visit arrowcontainerservices.com. Arrow Container, not just a disposal service, they're family. The Lowell Cemetery has 2 fall tours, Friday, September 28th at 1 p.m. and Saturday the 29th at 10 a.m. Both these popular tours will be conducted by Dick Howe Jr. as you join for an interesting walk through the beautiful fall foliage of this garden-style cemetery, focusing on both art and history. Explore early burial and mourning customs, learn the significance of Victorian monument symbols, and listen to engaging anecdotes about the people buried there. Tours are free to all and reservations aren't necessary. Wear comfortable walking shoes and bring an umbrella if the weather's questionable. The Lowell Cemetery also presents Monuments, Memorials, and Memories, images of the Lowell Cemetery, Saturday, September 29th from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. The artwork will be exhibited within the cemetery for all to enjoy. Enter at the Knapp Avenue entrance where there's plenty of free parking inside. And although Lowell Cemetery was established in 1841, there is new burial space available. Call 978-454-5191 or visit lowellcemetery.com.
Stay connected with the WCPB app. Take Boston's news leader wherever you go. WCPB alerts keep you connected to what's happening right now. Always streaming breaking news video.
Team coverage begins with News Center 520.
The latest WCPB News Center 5 newscast. Weather updates, live storm tracking and forecasts.
Those rains will reach the Boston area.
Boston's most experienced meteorologists. Wherever you go, stay connected. Download the WCPB app right now.
Thank you, Cindy. Welcome back to the second hour of the Kamara K Show, and this portion of this segment is brought to you by Felon Health. Go and take a look at felonhealth.org. You can be able to find more information regarding to the organization itself. Welcome back to the Kamara K Show. It is now on Tuesday, September 18. It is 6:04 in the evening here. Please join me live on the radio by calling in. The phone number you can be able to call in to the show, area code 978-454-4980. Again, 978-454-4980. So I'm going to go ahead and continue from what the Lowell Sun have stated over their editorial page. This is not a report. This is an editorial page. This is an opinion of the editors from the Lowell Sun itself. And this, I'm going to go ahead and read some of the thing that I have highlighted here. As reported in the column, Vesna Nguyen was hoping that 3 Cambodian candidates would carve up the 18 Middlesex vote, open up the door for Jim Larry to win the minority majority district seat. Vesna Nguyen then would run in 2 years as a unity candidate, winning the minority vote and ousting Larry. Well, I can tell you what, that is fallacy. That is inaccurate as you can be. Not that I've known Vesna Nguyen for quite some time, since I moved back to Lowell about 5 years ago. When I saw this article, I thought it was funny that the Lowell Sun would put something like this. I know that Vesna Nguyen in the past have unequivocally have told me that he will never ever run for the state job at all, because it is a pay cut for him. There is no way that he's going to go ahead and make a living being a state representative full time. If he's going to do it, that means it's going to cost him a lot of money, and the well-being of his family is not going to happen. So the Lowell Sun have never reached out to Council Nguyen in regarding to this, and I reached out to him yesterday morning and asked him specifically if that is the case. And once again, he repeated himself, said that was not the case. And here we go. Continue. the Low Sun said, well, the strategy backfired. Mom won by 200 votes with Ricky Uong finished surprisingly second and 20 votes ahead of Jim Larry. All three received more than 1,000 votes. Meanwhile, Sam Mills finished well back with fewer than 400 votes. Well, Sam Mills, to be precisely, got 303 votes in regarding to that. And that's not as surprising because due to the fact that the top three vote getters, Radhi Mom, Ricky Uong, and Jim Larry, each and every one of those have their voter base that came out and vote. And the very fortunate thing is for Radhi Mom, he just happened to have more of his voters coming out to vote during that time, and the rest of them did not make it. I think that is just a way to look at it. It's to me what the Low Sun did. They trying to be a crying baby after they have won the election, because after all they have been covering for Radhi Mom for about 6 years. In the past 6 years, Radhi Mom himself have not been truthful as a state representative to his constituents. None. First and foremost, he never answered anyone's phone call. If he answers their call, it's always going to be his drinking buddy or the Sun editorial staff or anyone that is not going to be asking some tough questions. Just pure and simple. He does not want the answer to anyone who have the right to ask him the question. How many people in the constituency, how many times have he ever returned Cambodian people's phone calls? How many times that he ever returned, majority of people have ever called him to ask for things that can be done in the 18th district? None. The people that I've known, the people that I've talked to, they have always come to me and said, well, I have to end up calling Dave Nangle or Dave Nangle and Tommy Golden in order to get them to help me on my issues that I have. But what about Radhi Mom? If you're living in the Highland, if you're living in the Acre, he's always been MIA, but he's never been MIA to be able to be the first one to take credit for the things that he has not done at all. A couple of years ago, about 4 years ago, Dave Ouellette and his folks have submitted money to the state in order to request about $50,000 in order to beautify his living area in the Acre. Once that was done, guess who put it on his campaign flyer that he helped brought that $50,000 in order to beautify the Acre? Radhi Mom. It wasn't him. It was Dave Ouellette and the rest of other people that did that. They did all the job. He took credit for it. 2 years ago, he brought in Speaker of the House, Robert DeLeo, claiming that he was going to get $1.5 million to have an environmental study being done for the Rourke Bridge, knowingly that in 2007, the city of Lowell had conducted a feasibility study for the Rourke Bridge that was going to expire already. And now, considering with that $500,000 plus $1.5 million has gone to waste. Is it gone to waste? Well, maybe $500,000 gone to waste. That $1.5 million never came. And then he brought, again, Robert DeLeo into town, camping on his behalf, that need to send him back into the Beacon Hill so that he can be able to truly represent the 18th District Middlesex. That is not true. The Speaker himself came back here in order to campaign to get Radhi Mom elected so that he have somebody to cover his butt for lying. The city council 2 years ago, member of city council went to greet and talk to the Speaker himself. He promised $1.5 million to have that done. That $1.5 million never came and gone. And Radhi Mom said, oh, I'm going to go ahead and fix the Rourke Bridge. He's been saying that he's going to get the Rourke Bridge fixed since he got elected 6 years ago. And since he got elected 6 years ago, every time there is an election, there's always people either primary him or challenging him. What does that tell you? When Dave Nangle been in office nearly or over 20 years, Tommy Golden has been in the office over 20 years, and they have never had any challenges at all. But what made it mean they have a few challenges, but not as ferocious as Roddy Mom. Challenges that challenging him because of his inability to deliver what he promised to the 18th district. Unfortunately, recently at the debate at the UMass Low, Roddy Mom have claimed that he helped brought in $5 million in order to have a feasibility study, to have a drawing done, to be able to have the new Rourke Bridge. Jim Larry, a former city council member, a former school committee member that challenged him during the primary, he said that was a laughed out loud moment because it was a lie. That itself, due to the fact the owner of Market Basket get all the elected members to come in to discuss in order to obtain that money to do a study, to draw up a plan in how we can be able to convert that temporary road bridge that was built in 1982 into a permanent, robust bridge. Roddy Mom, as a state representative, has been very abysmal and nothing but lie to the people in order to get votes. Unfortunately, the people that vote for him have never challenged the fact that he lied about all of those facts, that it's somebody else's that have done all the work and he's just taking the credit. But I can tell you one thing, what Roddy Mom does when he's at the meeting, when I was at the State House, I saw him at the meeting, at the committee meeting, he would spend half of his time on the phone, texting, looking at the phone. What was he doing on the phone? Texting, Facebooking, I don't know what he's doing. But apparently, if he spent so much time on his phone, he never answered his constituent calls. What the heck in the world are having in that? And this is part of the reason why that I am absolutely livid with the Low Sun telling me that I am hammering Roddy Mom on the TV show. I speak Khmer in those TV shows. I don't speak English. So the Low Sun, before you start going on that I'm hammering him, you better need to go ahead and come and talk to me and clarify what I was talking about. When I am on those TV shows this past year here, I've done absolutely nothing but to encourage the people to go out there and vote. As a broadcaster, as a producer of those TV shows, I have invited both Democrats, majority of them Democratic candidates for the 3rd Congressional District to come on those TV shows in order to give their platform to the Cambodian communities. Members, when I am on there, I encourage people to study each of these candidates, which one of them will align with their interests. Not once that I criticize Roddy Mom. I encourage people to go ahead either vote for Roddy Mom, Sam Mir, Jim Larry, or Ritti Ong. One of those. It is your choice. You need to make that choice wisely. That's all I ever asked. That's all I ever talked about. Nothing more. I don't criticize them. Furthermore, the Low Sun have been covering up Roddy Mom by saying that, this is what he said, that on the social media, that Roddy Mom, the Hun Sen sympathizer, is the enemy of America. Well, he is the enemy of America. Ever since that he's been elected as a state representative, he has not once turned down the opportunity to go to Cambodia to see his mentor. And people have told me that Roddy Mom went there to shake hands with Hun Sen. As an elected member of any level of government, when you're being invited by a foreign government, you're going to go there and shake somebody's hand. Well, darn it, I really don't care. I don't care what kind of handshake do you have, secret handshake, any funny handshakes, or any which way, Mo, Larry, and Curly, the Three Stooges handshakes, if you want to, that's fine. I have no problem with it. But the only problem that the Cambodian people have, the Sun editorial staff, let me tell you, Roddy Mom not only met with Hun Sen, he sat in front of Hun Sen and telling Hun Sen that he wants him to be his mentor in the political arena. You're talking about Hun Sen, who jailed member of parliament who dare to disagree with him for the border demarcation. Om Sam An, he locked him up for 2 years because he disagreed with him. A member of parliament, and according to the Cambodian constitution, a member of parliament himself has an immunity to speak in anything, in any policy that his disagreement. And he himself locked him up. And this is the mentor that Radimum wants to have. And on top of that, for every, there are about 14 or 16 members of political activists were jailed because they disagree with him. As of recently, as about a year ago, he put the party leader of CNRP, Khmer People National Cambodian People, Cambodian National Rescue Party, a party leader, throwing him in jail and accuse him for being a traitor from a YouTube video that they found in 2003 when Kem Sokha himself admitted that it is the National Democrat Institute, which is sponsored by the Democratic Party, invited him for a training, a grassroots training, and he admitted that he was trained by the NDI, and the Hun Sen government stated that Kem Sokha himself is a traitor. So he got arrested, he got tossed in jail for 1 year and charged him and accused him for being a traitor. And after that, he went to the court, the kangaroo court of Cambodia itself, to have CNRP dissolved. And then in July 29 of 2018, he was overwhelmingly elected of 125 seats. That's purely corrupted at best. The authoritarian, communistic style that Hun Sen was a former Khmer Rouge commander have done nothing to improve the livelihood of Cambodians. And for Radi to say that he wants Hun Sen to be his mentor, and that is not being offensive to millions of Cambodians living in abroad, is as highly, as abhorrently as you can be. And for the Low Sun have admittedly have done everything to cover the communist sympathizer like Representative Radimum is beyond comprehension. I cannot believe that. I don't. For them to do this is beyond my understanding. What a free newspaper that pick up a pen to defend the First Amendment, the rights of the people that believe in the Constitution of the United States for free Cambodians that living in the city here, for this paper here to continuously covering up all of these is beyond comprehension. Furthermore, last year, Radimum, in 2007, Radimum went to Cambodia again. He said it was under the invitation from the U.S. Ambassador William Hyde. Well, he got there all right. I don't know who's paying for it, but somebody paid for his trip. So he got there to the U.S. Embassy. They interviewed him. They called him a doctor, a medical doctor. And they also said that he's also a U.S. representative from the state of Massachusetts, representing the district here in Lowell. Did the state representative, Mom, refuted any of that misspoken? No. He was happily trotting along, said, yes, I am a medical doctor. But that's just a lie. It's a lie. I mean, when is this guy going to stop lying to the people that what he's saying is love to take the credit of others, love to embellish him? Why can't he be honest to everybody else? Oh, by the way, did the Sun report that? No, the Sun never reported that. And then when he went to Cambodia, he just happened to be the mouthpiece of the Hun Sen regime, a communist regime, saying the infrastructure in Cambodia is at its best. And he went through 7 provinces in 5 days, even though some of them he did not stop by and say hi to anybody at all, but he did travel to 7 provinces. For those my American folks don't know what that is, that 7 provinces, from each of the provinces to the people that live there, it takes at least 8 hours from one place to another. That's based on a 30 to 40 mile track from one province to the next one. And he happened to be, where? 7 of those? But the only city that have a good pavement in that area is nothing but the capital itself, which is Phnom Penh. Everywhere else, once he stated that, my friends, people that are living in Cambodia have said and said, this is what Radimam is talking about. They're showing a whole bunch of dirt road that filled with muds that no motor vehicle can be able to get through. Even as an ox cart can't even get through any of that. And Representative Radimam from the 18th district in the state of Massachusetts have been a mouthpiece to a communist, and the Low Sun covered it up, and he is not a sympathizer. Yeah, I beg to differ. So furthermore, he said, according to several sources following the 18th district, Vesna Nguyen and Riti Ong waged a negative behind the campaign scene to link Mom to Cambodian ruling Communist Party and its dictator. Yeah. How else can you say? What else can you say? It's not a negative thing. You tell me if it is a fact, how can it be negative? And unfortunately, the Low Sun covered that up. They said it's not a negative thing. How can you say that's not a negative thing when the guy is truly a communist sympathizer? So, before I continue, I just want to go ahead and give the phone number for people to go ahead and call in to participate in this here. Area code 978-454-4980. And once again, the opinion of this radio show is upon me. It does not necessarily reflect the station and the station manager itself. And furthermore, Radimam had consistently said that he is focused on his work at the State House, not politics 5,000 miles away. Well, I hate to tell you this. If you see any of the pictures that Radimam take, it is always with the son of a communist dictator, a son of the enablers, of the generals, and God only know people that come from Cambodia as young as 30, 40 years old with 4 or 5 stars on their shoulders, coming here parading in the city of Lo. And Radimam have never ceased a moment to go and have a drink with them. No, he's never involved with that. But does the Low Sun say anything about it? No. Does anyone complain about it? No. Because we believe in it's just a personal thing. That's what he wanted to have, and let him have it. But for the Sun to be able to go ahead and criticizing these, myself and the rest of these folks here, is unbelievable. I don't know what else to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, to me, it's just boiling. It really is boiling my blood to have something of this caliber for the Sun to be able to come out, to be so critical of this here. Note, this is what the Low Sun also said, that City Council Vesna Nguyen, about a couple of years ago, secretly trying to have a picture with Hun Manet at Congress Nikki Sangha's office. So I confronted him. I shouldn't say I confronted council member Vesna Nguyen there. I asked Vesna Nguyen and said, what was that all about? He said, many years ago, when Congresswoman Nikki Sangha went to Cambodia, was Hun Manet and everybody else, including him, were there greeting the Congresswoman into Cambodia. So at the conclusion of that meeting, they had pictures together and so forth. So that picture was taken. When Hun Manet came into the city itself, it was nothing less than Congress Nikki Sangha's to invite Hun Manet to come and to her office in order to greet him and welcome him into the city. That's just a diplomatic gesture. That's all it happened. And what was going on that it was Congress Women Nikki Sanger's office have extended the invitation to Vesna Nguyen back then to come into the meeting during that time, because after all they said they met each other in Cambodia. So once you come back here, now that he is in the house, it is a courtesy, it is a diplomatic courtesy to welcome a person that they met in Cambodia. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. But however, the Low Sun seemed to have an issues regarding to that. And then he also said that Richie Ong, in the Cable Khmer show, opposes have been very critical of Radimam on his TV show. But you know what though? We have always extended that invitation to Radimam to come in on those television shows, to talk about himself, to talk about a policy, to be able to give us let us know what is going on at the State House. Being transparent as an elected leader, face the music, tell us what is going on, tell us what type of challenges that you have that you need us to go out and help you. None. He has not done any of that. But instead, for some reason, he has plenty of time to go to Cambodia many times, but the Low Sun never said anything about it. Oh, by the way, Low Sun, I'm speaking English right now, so you can be able to understand me perfectly instead of me speaking Khmer, which you probably never had anyone translate on your behalf. So next time, if you're going to do some sort of editorial page criticizing me, please reach out to me and get the fact before you start saying something that is not true. And it is right now, we have 6:27 on the hour on the Kamara K show. We have a couple more minutes left, and thank you for allowing me to be a little bit of a diatribe here. Last, I wanted to go ahead and touch base of what is going on with this Supreme Court Associate Justice Brett Kavanaugh that going into the hearing right now. I am saddened by the fact that Dianne Feinstein has this letter that was written by Professor Ford, giving it to one of the representatives in California way back in July. Dianne Feinstein, who happened to be a member of the Judiciary Committee for the United States Senate, have held on to this letter here for a very long time, for 2 months, with over 60 meetings and hearings, private hearings with Judge Brett Kavanaugh and all of that. Dianne Feinstein have never ever produced this letter, and now that the committee, the Judiciary Committee, is ready to vote to get that name out of the committee, she all of a sudden produced this letter. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know, it's not that I don't believe what Professor Ford experienced 35 years ago, and what Judge Kavanaugh unequivocally denied that he had any inappropriate behavior toward her at all. Yes, I love to see what she has to say. Chairman Grassley have stated that that Professor Ford have the option to either testify publicly or privately, whatever she feels that she's comfortable with, that he will be able to accommodate that. But you know what the sad part about it is? The professor and Senator Dianne Feinstein have not responded to the request from the chairman of the Judiciary Committee yet. So, having said that, thank you. This is the Kamara K Show, and have a good night. See you next week.
Hello, this is John Dyson, the house manager at Merrimack Repertory Theater. Merrimack Repertory Theater presents Karen Zacharias' Wildly Funny Native Gardens, September 12th to October 7th.